Here we are again. Peter. What's going on, Peter?
Jeff, are you in there?
I am in here.
Jeff,
I'm in here too.
Jeff,
Yes.
can anyone see us?
I think they can. I think they can see us. Oh.
Hello,
that.
everyone. All right. Hey, Jeff, what's happening, man?
Fabulous.
I'm in a high strangeness mood today.
Yes, I like that.
Okay.
Bring it. Bring the edge,
yeah.
Peter.
I am.
Bring
I'm bringing it. I'm bringing
edgy.
it all. I'm bringing it all. We've got a great show, I think, today. It's going to be super cool, super fun, super odd. Really kind of one of those things. You know how much I love a good analogy, right? And as do
Absolutely.
you, right? We're all about the analogies. So, yeah, we were talking the newsletter this week. I wrote about crows and how they're really super intelligent, fascinating punk ass creatures. And one of the things I was saying is that I personally, I would trust a crow to solve a tough problem faster than half the ad campaigns I see from the billion-dollar brand out there. You know,
yes.
I think that there's so much to learn from everything around us. And we got a great guest. We've got Roberts coming in today from where is he? Far off in the mountains somewhere.
The Great White North.
Yeah. And how are you today, Jeff? What's happening?
Oh, I'm doing good today. I love Thursdays. I always look forward to the show.
Yes. I love that. Awesome, man. So yeah, the whole thing today is going to be about brands, intelligence, problem solving, and crows and how it all ties together. Crows remember faces, but does your brand remember faces? Stuff like that. Crows use tools. Founders use what? Canva at midnight? I hope not.
Right.
ChatGPT because it's good enough. We don't want that. No, we don't want any of that. So we've got that going on. And then, Jeff, do we have a prize today?
We do have a prize today.
Awesome. And also remember, Jeff, if you have a chance during any point in the show while we're doing this, we've got we're nominated. Brandardic has been nominated for best GDAM marketing agency in New Hampshire.
Yes.
The Bob Awards in New Hampshire. And is it a big deal? It's just a little bit of bragging rights. It's a little bit of had all the bigger agencies in town that were like, you guys are small and stupid. Well, it'd be fun to win that little plaque that says we're the best agency in New Hampshire. And then, Jeff, we can get the skill saw out and slice it into 3 pieces, maybe a 4th piece for Rob and some of our other friends, right?
Sure. We'll just, we'll serve it up like appetizers.
That's right. So we got Stephen in the house. Robert's here. Dr. Marlene Greenleaf is in the house. And we love that. Melissa Roman, Robert Unger, the one who wins all the prizes. And thank you so much, my friend, for posting that picture of you in the Brandardica hat.
Yes.
And just so you know, that hat was made using only sustainable fabrics. And it was done by, nothing but the finest craftsmen.
Right.
That's how. Brianna is here. Greg is here. Sherry's here.
Stephen.
Who is Bob? We're going to find out, Stephen, who the hell Bob is. But first, we've got a great guest, and I want to bring him in here. Toot sweet, as they say in Denmark. We're going to be joined by a fellow by the name of Scott Ravens. He's the founder of Corvus Solutions, and he's a guy who helps founder-dependent businesses break free. He's got 25 plus years solving complex problems across Fortune 500 companies and startups, delivered up to $80 million in captured value at Cox Automotive, and he scaled 2 franchise locations during COVID while surviving an 80-hour founder grind himself. And he still doesn't look a day over 29. So he's built the Corvus methodology to help founders stop being trapped by their own businesses and to reclaim their lives. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together because we've got the lovely and talented Mr. Scott Raven.
Hello.
Hey, Scott. Welcome.
Warm welcome. Although
You absolutely.
John and I left a long time ago. I'll put it that way.
Hey, if it's not too much to ask, would you be willing to saunter back to that baby grand and maybe tickle the ivories for us?
I might. If I'm in a good mood when we get done with this,
Okay.
maybe I'll play you a little.
All right.
I'll put it that
Because
way.
I know we'd have to send royalties and all that
Yeah.
stuff. And
Yeah.
Gavin Conkle's back in the house. Gavin, I love it. I love seeing you here. And Chase on forehand. I love it.
Oh, he good people.
That's a great name.
I love Chase on.
Mr. and Mrs. Forehand's kid.
That's right.
So welcome to the
Down the
program,
street.
Scott. Why don't you give our audience just a little bit of a, kind of I don't know, a belly flop, shallow dive into what it is that you do and where you're coming from.
Well, here it is in a nutshell. There are so many small and mid-sized business owners who created their business with dreams that they wanted to accomplish, and that they're in this rut where they feel like instead of building themselves a business, they built themselves a job, and they're trapped in the hours. They don't feel like their team is capable or willing to take on the decisions that they have to make every single day. They're stuck working in the business versus on the business. And this little thing called life outside the business, they've heard about it, but they don't really experience it, for lack of a better term, right? I am here to help them reclaim the pursuit of the dreams that they want through the business that they have. And I do that through what I call the Corvus methodology, where we assess where they're currently at right now, and then one objective at a time, re-architect across their people, processes, and enablers how they do things, and ensure that that implementation sticks so that we free up founders' two most precious resources, time and energy. And then they can reinvest that back into what they want.
Awesome. So let me ask you this: in your experience, when you look at a brand or a founder, let's say when you look at a founder-run business, what's like the number 1, 2, or 3 sign that there's a trap? They're trapped.
When we talk about this, and I refer to them as smoke signals, right?
Okay.
This is my way of saying, look, if I'm going to rent free mental real estate in your head, if you hear this, go talk to Scott. I haven't taken a vacation in years. And even when I take a vacation, I am on my phone, not on the beach, for lack of a better term. I can't remember the last time that I sat down and had dinner at a normal time and or with my family. I constantly wake up in the middle of the night thinking about what has to be done instead of getting a good night's sleep. Those are the types of things which, unfortunately, we don't talk about enough in the small to mid-sized business world, because we're all putting on these suits of armor of everything's good. I've got things going on. I've got all my I's dotted, my T's crossed, right?
Look how balanced I am.
Exactly. And we all know that there's always one more thing to be done at the end of the day, right? So who I really like to work with are those folks who are vulnerable. Those folks who are ready to say, you know what? I don't get it all figured out, and I could use some help, because I'm tired of these unspoken wishes of mine just going by the wayside.
So what would be what's the trap that maybe founders find themselves in the quickest? Is it that one, or is there something that precedes that time one?
I think that the biggest trap founders find themselves in is the action trap. When they booted up their business, they were a solopreneur. They did everything themselves. They got value from the action that they put into their business, which ultimately allowed the business to grow, right? Now, depending on where they are in their life cycle, they have grown to a certain extent, right? But those actions, which originally were net positive for them, are now net negative. They are drains. But yet, because you have this habit in terms of This is how I add value. This is how I add value.
Mhm.
How I add value. They haven't taken the step back to say, do I really need to be doing this anymore?
Right.
And should this be eliminated? Should this be delegated? Should this be automated?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a great point.
Mhm.
No, that makes perfect sense because I do think, and correct me if I'm wrong, at different stages in their business,
Mhm.
they're like, well, this is successful what I'm doing right now in terms
Right.
of whatever it is that action is, and so they assume that as they're growing, that's going to carry on, and that always falls back to that old saying, even for big companies, this is the way we've always done it.
Uh-huh.
And
Exactly.
once you hear that, then you're like, yeah, let's take a look at that.
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. Now, here is the bigger challenge, if you will, between bigger companies and smaller companies. There are a lot of benefits to smaller companies in terms of more able to be nimble, less call it politics, if you will, right? All of that stuff,
Mhm.
right? But at times, particularly with founders and owners, and even if you aren't this person, I bet you shake your head in terms of this person, right? They can be a little egotistical.
Ooh.
They can be a little, I am the smartest
No.
person in the room, right? Nobody's going to do this better than me, right?
Mhm.
Right.
That's not the point. You may be right that nobody's going to do it better than you, but there may be something that only you can do, but you can't do it because you don't got the time and the energy to do it.
And you don't
So why
even
don't you let
know.
somebody else take that on?
Yes, you don't even
That's
know
how I
that it needs to
feel
be done.
about forest fires and the
Mhm.
idea that only I can prevent them.
Right.
Like I can't. I don't have time.
Mhm.
I think it's gonna look. I need other people to get involved. Right? Too much
Right.
pressure.
Yes, exactly.
That's
Exactly.
crazy.
Right.
And we've.
And I
Oh,
think, Peter, in your newsletter that
mhm.
you put out and talking about crows, and obviously my last name being Raven, I have a very big affinity towards this part, right? That you said it so eloquently that crows work together, right?
Mhm.
It's actually ironic. I'm a diehard Philadelphia Eagles fan because I did my college in Philly,
Right.
but Eagles hunt alone
Yeah.
at the end of the day, right?
Mhm.
Crows hunt in groups, which, funny enough, they're called murders. Don't ask
Yes.
me why. They're just called murders, right?
Mhm.
But to your point, Peter, working within the group, they figure things out much quicker. And then they transfer that knowledge within the group so that the group gets smarter as they go, right?
Mhm.
That is the underlying philosophy of what we try to do within Corvus, which is make the group smarter so that you get the knowledge out of the founder's head.
Yep.
Right on. Right on. And little known fact I just learned about crows was they're not actually black. Did you know that?
Did not
They're
know
not.
that. Huh?
No.
No.
They've got some kind of oil within their feathers that if you look at a crow at the right angle, you actually start to see what color they are.
Mhm.
Uh, their feathers absorb all light, so they look black, but they're
Mm.
actually, and this is crazy, they're like rainbow.
Oh.
That I did not know. I learned something new today. I mean, typically I focus more obviously on the Raven side because that's my last name, right? And
Sure.
I
Of
know that
course.
what it is black, but it's more like a dark purple, if you will.
Yeah.
But the whole naming of Corvus, why
Mm.
Corvus? It's the Latin and the scientific genus name for
Mm.
where crows, ravens, etc. live.
Mhm. And
That's
there's
right.
such a
Yeah.
history behind that in cultures and
Yep,
ancient
absolutely.
cultures
Absolutely. I mean, we can go to, well, Edgar Allan Poe, obviously the most is the most
sure.
noteworthy, right?
Yes.
But the one who is the harbinger of the transition, which obviously a lot of these businesses are trying to transition to a better place, whether it be getting themselves to be sold in a couple of years, getting themselves so that they can have the proper succession for the person who's next up to be in place, getting themselves set up for a round of funding, right?
Mhm.
Whatever that transition is, they need that guide who's going to lead them to the other side.
Right
Mhm.
on. And then there's, of course, that time that God sent a crow down to Cain to show him how to bury his brother, I guess. So crows have been at it for a long time.
You being former Disney, I would have thought that you would have been a little bit on the brighter side of life. But then again, I know that you.
This is why I was so successful at Disney. We're successful, and I say successful by missing the missing out on the guillotine, the corporate guillotine, multiple times. I was able to escape the hangman's noose, if you will. And, so it was because I had that dark and granted, everyone's favorite characters at Disney are villains anyway, so it all makes perfect.
And also, I think we were talking about this before. Like the typical Disney movies, somebody dies in the beginning.
Always.
You gotta kill.
You have to have the event which shakes up the apple cart, right?
That's right.
Right.
And that creates that you can't have a hero until you have a need for a hero. And the beginning of that, killing off a parent, means that safety emotional system is gone. And then there's a challenge to overcome.
That's right.
It always
that's why, and Peter, you would know this better than I, that the Disney villains are in many ways just as beloved as the Disney heroes. So
that's right. That's right. That's right. So the other thing we were talking about is how brands forget about sometimes their early adopters. The moment a second retailer returns their call. Crows remember faces, log faces, and even holds grudges. Do founders tend to forget faces, lose sight of their customer, in your opinion?
I think they do.
Yeah.
And I don't think that is intentional. Don't get me wrong. Right. But I do think that they fail to understand their customer is going to go through evolution and adaptation over the time that they are within that life cycle. Their needs are going to change. The way that they value the service that you gave them the first time is going to be different in subsequent times, right? Think of it just like if somebody's on drug, right? First time that they take the drug, right? They feel real good, right?
I wouldn't know.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right? But over time, it's just to get to okay, right? And so you have to constantly have the voice of the customer in mind in terms of, well, where are they now? And how do I further the relationship that I have built with them now, as opposed to let's just do the same old thing?
Yeah.
Now,
I mean, that leads me into thinking about tools and systems, operations.
Yep.
What's the, let's say, operational cost of something I've heard referred to as tool poverty?
Why don't you explain that for the class, Peter?
So tool poverty, like not having the processes in place, not having, the items you need to sort of operate your business, bootstrapping until, the very end, which usually comes faster than it should when you don't have the proper tools. So in your opinion, as far as founders are concerned and these brands and these businesses, what's the importance of having these processes and tools in place in order to
I think that I think the perfect analogy is that most of us who are homeowners have the toolbox down in wherever, right, in order to take care of small things around the house, right? Just because you have the tools doesn't mean you know how to use them, nor how to use them in the right order, right? And if you're going after a larger job, such as fixing the plumbing underneath your sink, you better know how to do it. Otherwise, you're going to get soaked, right? For lack of a better term, right? It's not enough to learn new ways to do things. It's also how do you put it together so that the overall output and impact is as good as possible. Because there are many ways that you can get a successful output for a client, but that client may not care because just because you fulfilled their need, you didn't make them emotionally feel, God, it was great working with that firm.
Yeah.
And so it also is about how you put the sequence together so that it creates impact, which is memorable in your client's eyes.
Hmm. So yeah, Scott, if you met a founder that used this tool, would you say that wouldn't be ideal?
Probably not.
Mhm.
You know what? I would say, you know, a better response is reply hazy. Try again later. So
I like how it mirrors real life. How when just the corner comes up and you can't read anything, and you're like,
I know you're like, I'll try again.
exactly,
come on.
exactly.
Speaking of tools, I was talking to somebody recently, and I was posted something about having, using the right tool. Sometimes I think people make the mistake, and this would be people, whether you're working at home, DIYing it, or you're trying to solve a problem, or you're a founder trying to resolve something, there's an advantage, I think, to knowing your toolkit and knowing which is the right tool for the job. But I think there's a disadvantage to relying on one tool to solve something. And I find myself, in fact, I just was putting together a roof snow rake, those things, if anybody lives in the upper atmosphere like the rest of us.
By the way, I've lived in Atlanta for the last 20 years, and I don't miss snow. So
Yeah,
I'll put it that way.
It's been years since you've touched a roof rake, I'm sure. But I didn't have I don't know, I couldn't find a wrench, and I was like, fuck. For a variety of reasons, that and I'm terribly disorganized.
Right.
But anyways, I found something else that I could use just like a wrench, and that's part of the problem solving thing. Is that something that more founders in those positions who you work with could really get better at, is figuring out not only what the right tool is for the job, but adapting to use other tools in the toolkit?
Yes, I do think so, right? Because, to play the analogy into the business world, right? I think that people are in the process of properly learning how to use AI as a big tool in their toolbox. And I use AI a lot. It is a wonderful tool for a lot of the stuff that I do behind the scenes. But I also think people both improperly use it and overuse it from time to time, right?
Okay.
You gotta remember that in most cases, AI is like your 7-year-old, right? It's going to try to please you as best as possible with an answer so that it feels like it's making you happy.
Right.
That doesn't always mean that it's right
Right.
at the end of the day, right?
Yes.
And so we have
Yes.
to be careful in terms of, and I use AI as an example, but any tool in the toolkit, right? In terms of just because the tool does something for you doesn't mean that it's right in that context. And how you properly put the right tool to the right problem to get to the right outcome is critically important.
Yeah, and Scott, I think you touched on something. I think when, because we grew up in the time when there wasn't Google yet, right? So people started searching for things. There was this whole wave of, wow, this is amazing, all this information. Then people realized, oh, this information has to be taken with a grain of salt sometimes, especially if you're looking for medical advice. And I think what's happening is that people are thinking of AI as, oh, well, this is a different experience now because it's actually like having a conversation with me. But in the end, it's the same information.
Yes, it is exactly the same information, right? Here is the only thing that AI is doing, right? What it's done is it's basically taken that search process and effectively optimized it behind the scenes, right?
Yeah.
So that it can give you a more human response at the end of the day, right? The trick is that optimization may not necessarily be in line with the way you're thinking about it and the way you're approaching the problem. Now, there are things that you can do with AI in terms of how you set up memory, how you set up the instructions, casting it as you are a certain role or here's a certain context, right? In order to bring it closer to what you want. You can do all of that, right? But you have to be smart enough to know how to do that and apply that. I think going back to the whole, ravens and crows thing, another of the allegories is the allegory of Odin, and how he had the two ravens that represented both thought and memory, right? You could think of the underlying work in AI, everything that's done in terms of capturing all of that memory, but you still have to help it on the thought side to get to where you wanted to get to.
Yeah.
That's perfect. That's perfect. And the fact that we're talking about Odin right now, Odin was dope, as the kids say.
Yes.
Odin was dope. Odin's dope, dog. Dope Odin.
Well, I think, Peter, only you can pull off that line with that type of veracity.
Yeah. Odin's dope, y'all. Hey, if anybody out there has questions that have anything other than something to do with Disney characters that have died and things like that, but I also want to give a shout out. Our good pal Richard is here. Our good pal Joshua. Apparently, he's calling in from Portugal. So as we said earlier, not only do we have like wild numbers, off the chart numbers in Canada, but apparently now we're really starting to get some traction in Portugal.
We're international.
I sense that next year you're going to have to do a road trip to Lisbon and do one of your episodes from there. I'll put it that way.
And I'm thinking we bring everyone with us and have a sleepover. It's a tax write-off. I say that's what we do.
Sure, that works.
All right. Hey, while we're talking about tools real quick, and no, I'm not segueing to anybody else. I was going to say duct tape thinking in terms of like, let me just slap a Band-Aid on this, hatchet wound and deal with it later. Is there an example that you see often in your line of work that would apply to duct tape thinking as a way to solve a problem that's persistent?
Pretty much anything where it looks like this complicated spreadsheet from hell, and that it is something which technically works, for lack of a better term, right? But the only person who understands how it works is the person who actually created the spreadsheet.
Right.
And that if that person goes away, bye-bye in terms of how that not only works, but the impact to the firm as a whole. And that's what we're talking about in terms of you got to get the tribal knowledge out in terms of not just the tools, but the people who know how these tools work.
Yes.
Right. And as Richard is mentioning that Canada only just got into podcasts last year, that's perhaps why we're doing so well in Canada.
There you go.
Fertile
new land for you all.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I was going to say that all makes a lot of sense to me. And I think that, sometimes by proxy, we just have to kind of try to solve something with what we've got, but I think the idea of, fixing your plumbing with duct tape, it's not a long-term strategy. So when you're doing that in your business, I mean, it might be one thing, your floor gets wet or you're there's some leaks and you're like, oh my God, I got to fix it. But when you do that with your business, it's not so easily fixable, is it?
Well, the end of the day, right, that you will do the duct tape solution and then you'll forget about it. Why?
That's right.
Because what is the next flavor of the month that you have to go solve? And the next one, and the next one, and the next one. You won't realize until it's too late when the duct tape bursts. And then all of a sudden you're like, why the hell's my floor flooded?
Right.
Sound a lot like one of my managers, directors at Disney back in the day. It wasn't a week that went by that my phone didn't ring and I'd pick up and he'd say, Peter, I got a message from you the other day and I said, listen, this pork sandwich ain't going to eat itself. Just shut the hell up and duct tape the damn thing. All right.
So is that why you have such an affinity to duct tape?
Yeah. Shut your goddamn pie hole, Peter. This barbecue lunch ain't going to go anywhere by itself. I don't have time for your questions. Anyway, he was one of my great mentors. Speaking of great mentors, a good friend of ours who is, hanging on the line here patiently. And
yes,
I want to thank him for actually the kids. We got a care package from Uncle Robert last week. And I was like, oh, Uncle Robert sent us a package. They're like, oh my God, who the hell's Uncle Robert? And I was like, well, it's not really your uncle or anything like that, but no, it's like Santa. It's Santa Kogan, if you will. But that said, we got to really get him into this piece here. So without further ado, hold on, Scott. Don't go anywhere.
In other news, Robert Kogan.
Robert Kogan.
Kogan has succeeded.
Kogan has just returned.
Welcome to Making Things Happen with Robert Kogan.
Wow.
Where is he? Hold on. Oh, there he is.
There he is. Oh, God.
Hey.
How could
Fire
I
the
not
producer.
laugh all the time when I see that awesome intro? Nice to see you guys.
How's it going,
Good
brother?
to see you, Robert.
It's good. Things are going good. You might have noticed as I was walking around getting the microphone fixed. We've got about a foot and a half of snow here, about an hour north of
in that
Toronto.
short period of time?
No, it was over the last 6, 7, 8 hours.
All right.
I
I was going to
see.
say it all fell at once.
No, it did not all fall. But it's been a snow day here up in the Midland area north of Toronto. And you're talking roof rakes earlier. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was talking about roof rakes earlier too, because
Were you?
we can't let it get past 2 feet on the roof.
That's right. That's right. My wife is always
Dangerous.
like, I don't understand. I've never seen anybody but you use a roof rake. Nobody does that. I'm like, well, first of all, they do sell them, so somebody's using them. And I said, we're you see all those other houses with all the 7-foot icicles hanging over the door.
Oh.
We're not one of them, so that's why.
But we're not here to talk about winter safety. We're here to talk about brands
What's going on?
and how you guys and Scott and myself, how we all deal with things. So a couple of brainwaves that came to mind while absorbing your discussion. Again, analogies, baseball. A lot of times when I'm getting ball tickets for somebody, I explain to them, you might get like a 1-0, 4 total hits over in 2 hours. And to some people, that's like a Picasso, that's an incredible performance. And you might get a 14-13 barn burner that goes 11 innings till 12:30 at night. So why am I talking about that? Because with respect to that path to market for a brand, a lot of people get locked in. Oh, I've got to go to the farmers markets. I've got to get like 5, 10, 20 stores. I've got to get a break and go retail. And then we get focused in on that. And then all of a sudden, you ready? Oh, did you hear about that brand that's never been in retail, does $100 million a year online? Whoa, what the hell's going on with that?
Why did I think of that?
And food service is also, the big channel right beside this retail thing that we're fixated with. And I got to tell you, Peter, that whole thing about Kogan succeeding and doing all this stuff, it's such a great way to get my confidence going. And twisting a few topics into one here. That whole thing about every failure, every fuck up, every screw up, it messes with your head. It takes time to recover. I can't tell you how I am checking off so many screw ups that are now coming around the bend and coming to fruition. And it's hard. I'm having trouble coping with that. Because I want to just sit here and ponder, oh, really? So that brand screwed me on a whole national rollout. But the guy that I got in an argument with at the retail chain left. He works with me now. And now we've got 3 SKUs accepted into a 42-store chain in Toronto. I'm not mentioning the brand because of all the brands I work with. I let them make their decisions on when they want to shout out what's going on. But one in particular, which is sort of funny because I love saying moosh.
Moosh.
Wasn't moosh in the care package, Peter?
Yeah. In fact, I was giving it to my wife as we drove. I was feeding it to my wife as we drove.
It vaporized.
Weird. I was feeding it with my elbows here. She was like, "What is this?" And I was like, "I don't know. It's moosh." In the package. The kids were like, "I want some," and I was like, "You have some." And they were like, "What is this?"
Okay, so here's
it's not cotton candy. It's a fiber, right?
Sweet fiber.
Yeah,
and it's a riot because it's such a dad joke situation. Like, hey, what's this? I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I can tell you what it's not. It's not cotton candy, but it
Right.
is.
Right.
This moosh thing is hilarious. And the official title, Dr. Noam Kaplan, one of the gems of all of the founders that I've experienced. And his family comes out of food ingredient science. That's the fiber replacement for moosh. I thought it was nuts a year ago.
Mhm.
Yep.
What are you going to do when you hear that PFG takes it on and puts it in like 1,200 gas stations?
That's right.
Yep.
Well,
So-
I mean, it's delicious, dude. It's a super fun product. Only drawback we had was that my younger one ate so much of it, she shit her pants on the way back. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. She did not do that.
So let me go back to that example where you get stunned with like, what? No retail, but they're doing 30 mil online?
Right.
Here's an example of that. And an example of, 10 years of trade shows. Maybe half of them had me like stunned and wondering what my purpose is on the planet after all of the crap you go through. Anyway, this trade show that we did back in September, there were 3 booths that had melting forest displayed. And the one particular booth with my independent distributor had the moosh, the IQ bars, the Perfy soda, the 7Ts, all of the brands that are still in that stage where we're not yet at bilingual packaging. And I ran into a Quebec Maritimes distributor. For those in the audience that don't know what Maritimes means, it's our Atlantic provinces, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, that little island called Prince Edward Island, and that big area called Newfoundland, Labrador, the big island out in the ocean.
Love it.
So it's a market.
I
And
want to
you
go to
guys,
that.
you guys up in New England know what that market is.
Yes, Bay of Fundy.
So the guy shows up at the booth. Hey, how you doing? Oh, good. What do you do? I distribute in Quebec and the Maritimes. Oh, really? Yeah. Every week we take the truck out there and we got about 300-400 points of sale. And I also have brands that I bring into Toronto and export and sell to online guys. So when do you want to meet up? Tomorrow. Oh, okay. Trade show Sunday. We're meeting tomorrow. This guy landed. His name is Dominique Vachon. His company is called JAV, J-A-V. And that's a situation where it's totally kosher to shout it out, because anybody who's looking for distribution in the Quebec Maritimes region of Canada should call Dominique. So Dominique landed a 22 chain health club. So on one hand, yeah, powerful energy. We establish our relationships with your brand and we evaluate where the path of least resistance is. See, that's the BS trade show sort of business. But the truth is, we have no idea where it's going to go.
That's right.
It could be 1-0. It could be 13-12.
Yes.
So, and I'm going to bring this all into a question, as I like to do, say 14 things in the same little diatribe. And so the report for what's going on in Kogan land this week, moosh. We're now looking at the bilingual label, getting the ingredients confirmed with all of the mythology that we get from Health Canada and CFIA. And it's about to join Melting Forest and another very prominent brand that I will let the owner of the brand decide when he wants to tell the world it's coming to Canada. And those 3 are literally like baseball analogy, on deck with bat in hand, ready to go. So bringing it over to the question, Scott.
Yes.
The way that you are one of the go-tos for a brand that basically doesn't know what's going on, but has something, of the 32 planets you need in alignment, might have 5 or 6 or 7 of them, and close to another 6. And so my question is, how do you deal with the fact that it costs so much damn money?
I would say it like this, that it only costs so much damn money if you don't know where to spend that money in the first place. And the more wisdom you can apply to your decision-making process, the lower that cost can be. I'll play off your baseball analogy because my son is big into baseball. He actually plays for his high school team, right? And one of the first things that he would say in terms of how he improved as a hitter at the plate was nothing to do with his mechanics, nothing to do with his strength, everything to do with his mind and the sequencing of pitching and understanding with a particular count and having seen different pitches within the at bat, what to look for and where to look for it. And by being able to have a sense in terms of what's likely to occur, and that helped improve his hitting rate. Same thing goes in terms of if you have a lot of bets to put out and they all cost money, which are the ones that are going to have the best ROI for you?
Right. Right. Don't go right to the one-armed bandit at the casino, right? That's not going to give you the good odds.
That was pretty crazy the way you just rolled out that baseball analogy there. Your son might enjoy this one. When I get confronted with Robert, that's like, that's too much at once. You're throwing too much information at once. I apologize. I say, you know what? I grew up at shortstop. We have to read the angles of the legs, the instincts of the batters, first at bat, second at bat, third at bat. Yeah, we sort of correlate that to our memory and position the other outfielders and our infielders in certain spots. And we communicate that in the 15 to 20 seconds in between pitches.
That's right.
So, and what you said about describing how your son is approaching hitting heat, it is very difficult to hit fastballs and junk.
Yes.
Off speed.
I agree.
It's a philosophy that you can analogize to so many things in life.
I agree.
So, but I'm curious always about the money thing, because being from real estate, the first thing they teach you is qualify your buyer. And I like to just get really brutally harsh as soon as possible with making sure that brands that I come in contact with and have those discussions really understand how much money is involved, what the costs are, what perseverance is required.
Oh, you mean that hope is not a strategy?
Oh, no.
Okay, I was just checking, just making sure.
Post and pray.
Oh, please.
Yeah. And it is very difficult to, it's like being a therapist more than a consultant at times. I did that. I realized that with real estate because, it's a lot of people, it's the biggest deal of their lives, and all of the emotional craziness comes out.
Right. Well, Jeff and I were talking back before you jumped on in terms of the importance of vulnerability in the work that I do and being able to leave your ego at the door and to extend on that, being able to receive some tough love, right? Being able to say, I am not blaming you or chastising you or for the position that you're in, but there are lessons to be learned that you need to be able to apply going forward, right? And I can help with that.
I've got a better program. I just show some people what I did over the last 9-10 years. And one category is what stupid decisions I made. But the more important category is applying the learning, the lessons, and trying to, like you said, like you referred to, make the money go as far as possible.
Yeah. It's funny because I was listening to Robert Kurtzbach. He's one of the people on Shark Tank, right? And he was making this statement in terms of, I only want to work with people who are successful. I don't want to work with people who have failed. And I was listening to this. I was like, what are you smoking? If you haven't failed, you're not trying. I'm sorry. You need to have those types of lessons in order to be the success that you want.
Yeah.
It's an interesting point, though. I had a conversation about that very fact with a friend of mine in LA who's in the music industry. And he was saying, I don't know that you should be posting these failures. It's not a great look for you. And I was saying, no, dude, in my world, I mean, a failure is a learning opportunity. If you can't admit it, then you're, what are you doing? You're obviously you're not learning anything and you're full of yourself. But he was saying in my world, and he goes, you don't talk about these failures and go into a boardroom at a record company and say, well, last time I did it, it failed miserably. And, he was saying there's certain industries and certain positions. And I would say that it's true in certain instances where, your failures, if you're focused too hard on your failures, or put it out there too frequently, I mean, it's probably not the best look, but admitting where you're faulted, admitting where you're vulnerable. And this is the most important part. This is what he didn't get. And I explained to him is that you're not just admitting to a failure, you're telling the story full arc, full circle about what you learned from it and how you overcame.
Yes.
I agree. But
So I think that does matter.
Right. To get back to what, your point, Robert, like, you're going to put your money out on the table on a number of different options. Not everyone is going to hit. That is why they are called bets, right? But fail fast, fail cheap, and most importantly, fail forward. Fail forward into what you were supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
I like that. That's really smart.
Forward.
So, guys, we've got a bunch more to get to. Robert, I would invite you to stick around and hang out. We got more questions coming up. So if you're down with that, unless you have somewhere to be, but it looks like you're in the sauna. Somebody said you're in a sauna. So
Not in the
I
sauna.
wouldn't leave. If I would.
Hey,
Jeff,
I have to explain that to many people on FaceTime and video calls. It's a bunkie. There's a window. There's a desk. There's the
and who
chair.
sits in a sauna in a fleece?
Yeah.
It is a little chilly here today.
There's not a hole in the floor that you can fish in, is there?
He is fishing.
No,
He's fishing right
they
now.
show up out in the water sometimes. You guys, you country bumpkins, you never lived in the snow before? Come on, you're from New Hampshire.
Yeah, it's all around us.
I know.
Don't miss snow.
I got a
miss
question.
snow.
I got a question, Scott. What would be a scenario like, without dropping, personal company names or something like that, but like an example over the last few years of a scenario of, what type of sales were they? Snack, beverage, this and that. What region? Region is a very important thing. A lot of people get confused. Oh, should I try to go outside my area? And then I have to explain, well, if you want to be in the third largest market, you got to come to Toronto. If you in North, that's in North America there. But if you want to just go and stay close and stay tight. So is there any war stories of success, failure, or whatever that you can think of that are appropriate for public consumption?
Define public consumption. I'll put it that way.
Not pissing anybody off that you talked about it.
Well, I tell you, right? I'm not going to go into specific details or firms or whatnot, right? That would not be kosher, for lack of a better term, right? What I would say is this, right? You have to understand the size of the action, which makes the most logical sense for where you are at the time. To play off of your Toronto analogy, right? There's a reason why Toronto is a huge mega market, right? It's because it's built up that way. There's also a reason why a lot of people would fail in Toronto, because they would be too small of a fish in a very big pond, right? And so being able to say, God, that market is so huge. If we just get 1% of it, we'll be set. Well, there's a reason why people don't get that market share and market penetration. Whereas if they put their bet elsewhere where they were a bigger fish in a smaller pond and could grow, that they would be able to be successful. That's the type of analysis and strategy that you have to put into where do you want to place your products.
Yeah.
Look at Gavin's question down there.
That's a good one.
Similar to my next question.
Yeah.
So
let's see. Oh, bring that back.
There it is.
Thank you.
He's back. I didn't know if you wanted to read it or you
Yeah,
wanted
what
to have
would you
Jeff
tell
read it to
someone
you.
you are coaching that is running out of money? They have product turning, are in the market. What options do they have? Well, obviously we don't have enough context in terms of all the different things that are going on in this case, right? But they say that the easiest problem to solve in the world is money. Now, is that truth? Yeah, depends on the time frame, right? But you have to take a look at how your products are performing out in the marketplace and be able to say, with time, will these products become self-sustaining and contributing if I give it enough slack? If the answer is yes, you have a different question, which is how can I extend the timeline? And that gets into Do I go after funding? Do I get whatever it is, right?
Mhm.
You know, in terms of being able to extend it, right? Now, if you look at it and you give yourself the cold hard truth in terms of these products are never going to get to the point where they are going to be accretive to my business proposition, right? Then you've got to have the hard look at it and say, can I change what's out there
Mm,
or do I need to walk away?
right.
And the hardest part for a business owner is knowing when to quit or walk away. It feels so evil in
Mm,
order to say, I just got to stop. But
Mm.
sometimes that is ultimately the right decision.
yeah.
That's a great question and a great answer. We are running down to about last 9 minutes. And I wanted to ask a couple more questions. The Corvus Effect podcast, where can we find it? Where can we listen to it? And what's the one topic that you think founders hate hearing about, but desperately should?
Sure. So the Corvus Effect podcast can be found at thecorvuseffect.com. It also can be found on Apple Podcast and Spotify. We encourage you to subscribe and share with those people who can use the wisdom and leave us feedback, because we do it in order to create real sustainable impact in the founders and the dreams that they are trying to pursue, right?
Yep.
The one question which I always ask that pisses off every founder when I ask this question is, what doubts are preventing you from your dreams?
Mm,
Because then they got to get inward and be their vulnerable self in terms of saying, why do I not believe in what I'm supposed to believe?
Mm-hmm.
hmm
That's wow. So I know you're a baseball fan. Robert's a baseball fan. If operations philosophy were a Red Sox player, let's try to stick with one that most people have heard of, because I frankly have lost track of who's on the team at this point. An operations philosophy were a Red Sox player, who would the player be?
You know what? I would say, Bregman would probably be the first person that comes to my mind,
I
right?
was going to go Dustin Pedroia, who Bregman
Mhm.
is the second coming of.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the reason I say that is that I think one of the beautiful things that Bregman does, and Pedroia did this as well, right, is that it wasn't just about him. It was about how he worked with all of the 26 in the dugout in order to help improve the team as a whole, right?
mm,
Because ultimately, I do what I do, but I can't create full output and full impact on my own. I need other people to be working with, whether they be in the firm or people who are my colleagues who I appreciate working with, right?
mm.
It's about the team. It's not about you at the end of the day.
There you go.
That's
There you
big.
go. So don't either of you go anywhere. Jeff, we've got a prize to do today. Are we going to do
Oh,
that?
yes.
Let's
Yes,
get
let's
to it,
do it.
because we got 2:23 on the clock here, and I know that the LinkedIn police will be breaking down my door in
Oh,
about 7 minutes.
all right.
Mhm.
Well,
Throw
we
'em
wanted
out.
we wanted to kind of, put in some sort of connection to crows with this. So the question is, what 1994 Soundgarden track paints a dark picture with the lyric "Black crows fly in the cold sunrise"?
Good Lord. I don't know, but we'll have a little. Anybody get it yet? Anybody get it
I'm
yet?
waiting.
A lot of people are thinking,
I have a guess, but I'm
Okay.
probably wrong. I'll put it that way.
Scott, did anybody ever tell you you sound a little bit like Principal Skinner from The Simpsons?
Superintendent Chalmers.
Yes, you could do Principal Skinner all damn day. Hey, if the Corvus methodology was a band, what genre would it be? Metal, prog rock?
Oh, alternative.
Alternative?
Alternative.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Like what alternative band would it be?
I would say more Green Day than anything, right?
Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. Maybe a little bit more on the Weezer side, but yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Groovy. And Jeff, how we looking in on that? Any thoughts? Anybody got anything for us? I don't see anybody. Fell on dark days.
Well, Stevens was guessing, Black Days.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Guys, what's the prize?
Oh, what is the
Oh.
prize? You know, thank
Is it
you.
going to be a PFE holiday pack?
Oh, it
It
could,
could
but
be.
I think Jeff has something. I don't know what Jeff's got.
Do you want me to show what the prize is?
Well, yeah, but we can do either or. I love you gotta love the prize
Oh,
pack.
good
From
try,
Uncle
Bobby
From Uncle
Buckets.
Robert.
I was going to blurt
Yeah.
out Rob Unger's.
Oh,
guess.
yeah. Oh, yeah. What did Rob Unger say?
Yeah,
That's
he's-
Black
I get
hole.
up every day and I ask myself,
Yeah,
How
I
did Rob
was
Unger
thinking
say?
I was thinking Black Hole Sun when I heard the question.
yeah, it's not that one. There's
Yeah.
so many good ones
Jeff
though,
went
right?
deep on this. Jeff went deep on this.
It's a popular one though. It's
Mhm.
not like it's like a B-side or anything.
Oh.
Oh, the Black Crow.
Oh my goodness.
Anything?
Nothing. We got dead air.
Okay. All right.
What
So
do you mean?
I'll
Okay.
throw an alternative question out there. Jeff,
Okay.
we had an alternative question. I don't have to make one up. What was that other question?
The other one was an Aussie tune.
Oh, I gave you one though. What was the one I gave you? Did we already cover the murder of crows is what they call
Oh
Murder of
yes,
Crow.
yes.
we,
that-
we,
yeah,
we,
we-
we covered that
call-
one.
What do they call
yes.
a group of lemurs?
Of lemurs. What is a group of lemurs?
I got
We're
nothing.
changing the question.
I got none.
Come on.
I don't have any
Group of-
lemur
A
footage.
group of lemurs. Just like a murder of crows.
Come on, folks. Hop on Nano Banana 7.1 and get it done.
See, this is something that you could ask AI and it would
4th of
probably be right.
July.
I know, 4th of July. What is all that about?
Where are you? What? Dr. Marlene, what's happening?
They probably didn't get the question yet because there's a
Oh,
delay.
that's true. Yeah, I'm way ahead. Yeah, way ahead.
Well, the answer to the original question is
Was?
the day I tried to live.
Oh,
Okay.
that's
Okay,
great.
so but
So-
the new question is what is a group of lemurs called? You know?
Sorry.
Oh my god.
That's
yes,
called.
we have a winner.
We get it.
Actually, yeah, Rich got it first, although Gavin got it as well. It's a conspiracy.
Conspiracy of
A
lemurs.
conspiracy of lemurs. All right.
Yes, I love that.
That's right. I love that.
That's the best.
This has been so much fun having you on here today. We've
Yes.
talked a little bit about a lot of things. So I want to make sure that we get, everybody understands. If you're not connected to our friend Scott here, please do. He's an awesome dude. He's a good doobie, as
He
the
is.
secretary from Ferris Bueller says. He's a righteous doobie.
Mhm.
And where can people find you? What do you want them to know before they go?
Find me on LinkedIn, right? Also find me on our company website, corvussolutions.co. Feel free to, reach out, send me a question or your thoughts, right? I'd love to be able to chat about your dreams that you are trying to pursue, whether they be spoken or unspoken. And make sure to give lots of love to Peter and Jeff because they're awesome dudes.
Oh, sweet.
Thank you.
Hey, Robert, thanks for coming in today. And we're going to close on this note. And I guess I'll go back to my old friend, Drew Kay, who was a close mentor and protectee of my sweet head, as it was always on the chopping block for somebody's desk at the old job, at the old firm. And he would have said something to the effect of, crows don't wait for permission. They solve the damn problem themselves. Founders, take notes. All right. So that's a little bit of crow knowledge for you and from our old friend. Hey, guys, I hope you had a great Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Thanks for coming on. We've got a lot more good shows coming up. And don't forget, folks, I did drop the link in the chat or in the comments about voting for Brandartica in the Bob Awards of New Hampshire. Yeah, you don't have to be from New Hampshire to do it.
No.
So go for it because we don't have 60 employees. We have you. And it would be super cool to have you help us. Okay. So anyway, that's it. Robert, have yourself a great rest of the day. We'll talk to you
Yes.
soon. Scott, as always, a pleasure, my dear.
Thanks so much.
Jeff,
Appreciate it.
I will see you tonight at the snowball dance. All
Right.
Okay. All right. So we're going to get out of here now. Ready for the awkward part where we end the stream, but it doesn't really end and nobody's quite sure when it ends.
Right.
Here we go in 3, 2, 1.